So what's your problem here, Brady, with the big group of mediocre to bad football teams in the NFL? What's your you can't give a little bit of love to some 2-7 football teams that are running rampant in the league? Like everybody's got to be the Chiefs.
Oh,
or the
you mean the 9 of them?
You're talking
about the 9 of the teams that have 2 wins?
Doesn't everybody deserve a fair shot here?
Parity of mediocrity.
Think about that, dude.
Jeez.
You've got nearly a third of your league with 2 wins right now. This is how I describe this, because now that the election is over, we can strictly focus on, the NFL, college football, is good stuff. The NFL has a parity problem. I kind of mentioned this a little bit yesterday, but I want to dig a little deeper so people at home can really understand where we're at right now. We're 9 weeks in the season, okay? Heading into week 10. We have 9 teams who have 2 wins, okay? And I reference a lot of the NFL.com if the playoff picture was to hit today. Think about this. There are 12 teams with a 77% chance or better of making the playoffs. 12. That's 6 on each side, okay? 6 in the AFC, 6 in the NFC. That means there's only 2 spots left, 1 in each conference, okay? So for all the math majors at home, that's where we're at. And now think about that. That means you've got a number of teams, 12 of them, that have distinguished themselves as better than a 75% chance of making it in the playoffs, and we're halfway through the season, okay? 11 teams have a 10% chance or worse at the halfway point of the season of making the playoffs. That means their season is done, over. Go book their vacation like Prisco talks about. That's a problem. This league, it not only tries to create parity, it forces parity. Look at the draft, for example. There's a direct correlation where if you want to, you can kind of tank so you can get yourself assured for a top 5 spot, top 10 pick. Other leagues have had to put in measures to protect that from their teams tanking. So we're at the halfway point now. And this is essentially what you have. You have 12 teams who are playoff teams. 77% chance or better. Okay?
Or what?
You have 11 teams or better. Okay. 11 teams who have no shot. 10% chance or less. That's 23 teams in the NFL. You have the other teams remaining, the other 9, they're just kind of in purgatory. It's like they're all kind of working to try to make that one playoff spot. But at some point, it's going to turn into them being somewhere in the middle of the road. And they're going to be in a spot where they're not going to be able to draft a guy if they need a quarterback, or not necessarily get an impactful player as much as you would if you were in the top 5, top 10. And they're going to find themselves somewhere in the middle there. So it's kind of an interesting thing to point out, only because the NFL does not want you to know this. They want you to be blind to it. They want you to keep watching, keep driving up viewership, keep driving up their ratings. But this is a league that's got a serious problem. Because we all know when we watch some of these games, yes, there are some games that are tight and they're entertaining. But as I said a couple of weeks ago too, look at the double-digit or over a touchdown, spreads and favorites. Look at some of the outcomes of some of these games that are non-competitive, double-digit margin of victories. The league's got a development problem, and it's got a parity problem in a big way right now as a result of that.
I think it was Rodgers who made the point most recently where he said there's a group of 10 to 12 teams in the NFL that are legitimate. All right, they've got a shot. Well,
did he consider his team one of them?
Well, he did at the time. I don't know if he considers that now.
He did.
But, yeah, but then you look at it and you go, what about the other 20? But we keep adding. Now we've got a 7th team, and the 7 teams make the playoffs. It's probably going to go to 8. It's like, okay, well, there's a parity problem. It's like they're still adding mediocre football. Like the 7 seeds this year in the playoffs might be brutal. Like those could be some bad football teams, but they want to try and force the issue. And so thus you get, some really rough teams that are going to the postseason that probably don't deserve it.
Where are the Jets at on those 3 lists? The elites, the purgatories, and the no hope at all?
Purgies.
They're in purgatory?
Yeah.
Really?
That's the best 3-6 team in the history of the NFL. Don't you try and dismiss them.
Wow. I didn't heard it all now. That's what y'all going with. And Q said, yeah, very softly in the background. Like, yeah. That's what y'all think. That's a purgatory team?
They're above the 9 teams that have 2 wins. Their percentage chances of making the playoffs are above 10%. However, they're currently at 24%. Now, so if they win this week, those odds will go up.
Sure.
But the team that's slated in that spot right now is the Broncos, with over a 50% chance. And by the way, the other team that's got on the other side that's currently slotted in the 7th spot is the Packers, who have a 60%, 62% chance. And they're on a bye this week.
And the Broncos just got mutilated.
Right.
I mean, listen.
If
I think
a 3-win team is a purgatory team, then it's not even a parity problem. It's just a problem.
I would like to campaign for something here, even though the election's over. I think that, and Brady and I will be running mates on this because we were high on the Jets before the season. I think there should be a separate category to Jets record, if not for Greg Zuerlein. Because that would change the game here. Because then all of a sudden they're on that list of teams.
And then there's somebody else on every other roster that you could try to pinpoint and use the same logic.
Yeah, but let's not get convoluted.
You know what's the most bizarre team? Jonas will appreciate this. The Bears right now at 4-4 are 1 spot back from the Packers of being in that final 7th spot at the current moment, okay? Yeah. Their actual playoff odds chances is 9%.
Yeah, of course.
Even if they win this week, it's 11%. I believe that's a correlation with all the divisional wins or games they've played, and that's why.
Yeah, but it's also because people
and they're only 1 win better than the Jets.
Because this is where the eye test exceeds whatever the numbers are, to where people go, hey man, they're 4-4. Oh no, but they're not good because we just watched them. And I wonder what the thought would be.
I don't know that people determine that definitively, honestly. I think people are still confused about the Bears.
Well, what's there to be confused
about? Look at your
about?
face. You're mortified.
They're bad.
They have not played well at times, but I don't know that the book is out that they're bad.
They just hired their offensive coordinator. They've got weapons galore and the number 1 draft pick, and they're 9 games into the season, and they're talking about replacing him. This is after they just replaced the previous guy. So their head coach is now 0-2 hiring offensive coordinators.
They're 1 Hail Mary away from being 5-3. What 5-3? 5-3.
5-3.
And this isn't even the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the wild thing about sports. That swing, that 1 game swing is such a differentiator. Like 4-4 sounds horrible in comparison to 5-3.
Think about the 2 different conversations we've had about Washington and Chicago off that one play.
Off of 1 play. Off of 1 play.
It's great.
Because you could clearly say, oh, Washington's having a good year at the record that they would be at.
But man, what was with that game they coughed up to the Bears?
Yeah, they gave it up.
Yeah.
They had it, but they gave it up. Well, shots out to the Bears. Shots out to Caleb Williams for having that game-winning drive, that game-saving drive, right? Yep. So the narratives can change from week to week. That's what I will say. But if you're a 2-win team or a 3-win team, I don't care if you lost by Hail Mary. I don't care if you got blown out. I really don't give a damn about style points. If your record is that poor, then, I mean, at the end of the day, what are we really talking about? You know what I mean? Like, what are we?
4-4 and a 9% chance.
3 wins sounds. 3 wins and down sounds horrible to me. I'm just being honest. 4-4, I could tolerate 4-4.
I appreciate that if they win, it goes up to 11.
Oh yeah,
like that. That's what I love. Is there's really not much of an upside there.
Damn.
And they got the Patriots next, so they probably should win. And then everyone's going to get back on the hype train.
I mean, not really. They'll still be a 5-4 football team with 11% chance of getting in.
That fan base wants.
I mean, 5-4 sounds okay though.
Am I the only one that feels this way? Do you guys, when you hear this, do you not sit there and look and go, "We're halfway through the season, and the rest of the regular season doesn't really matter"? Besides for 2 spots in the playoffs, that's what we're talking about ultimately.
Unless you had epic meltdowns by those top tier teams.
Do you know where it really jumped out to me?
I mean, dude, let me go through the numbers. The Chiefs have a 99% chance of making the playoffs. Bills, 98% chance. Steelers, 83%. And by the way, They're with the Ravens. They have a 92% chance. So either one of those two will find their way in. It's either as a wild card or as a division winner. The Texans have a 96% chance. The Chargers are the ones that it's 74%. If they win this week versus the Titans, which I think we're expecting, that goes up to 80. You go through the NFC, the only one that's currently in a position to win their division that's unlikely they do so is the Cardinals. The NFC West is the one that they're at 46%, and if they beat the Jets this week, it'd be 56%. Everyone else, every single other team from the 6th seed upwards is above 84%.
I just think they're injury away. When I saw Patrick Mahomes, like, they had to help him off, it's like these teams are like literally an injury away from their season not being what it needs to be.
You know where I first kind of took notice to how many bad teams there were in the league? If you go to NFL Tankathon, where you can find out who's got the number one pick.
Somebody created a site called Tankathon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like last year, it was pretty obvious. All right, it's going to be Carolina. That's going to turn, like, you know, you kind of had a feeling.
Get one or two teams.
Dude, like
ask and you shall receive. Do you want to hear the updated 2025 draft order?
I'm staring at it right now, and I don't know how it works. Like, I'm still confused.
Well, they're all of the same record, but I think they do it based on some formula. But this is what they're anticipating. New England at 1, Jacksonville at 2, New Orleans at 3, Carolina at 4, Cleveland at 5, Vegas at 6, Giants at 7, Miami at 8, Tennessee at 9. By the way, those are all 2-win teams. So there you go.
Yeah.
If the Commanders would have got the cheetah, I might have moved back to Annapolis.
Really?
That's not true.
Yeah, it's possible.
That's not true.
You're right.
You hate the cold weather.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm glad you know me, little bro.
You would have gotten off the plane and go, nope. Back the other way.
Just like what I'm going to do this weekend. Nope.
Back the other way. Nope.
Yeah.
My hands got a little cold at the game this past weekend. I was like, oh my gosh, my hands.